I got 100 round drum in the bag, and nigga not missing, no. I got 100 rounds stuffed in the bag, you know I'ma flip it, oh. Tell my lagoon to make you a tag, la homie gon' hunt you down. My niggas swiping shit just like flag, they tryna gun you down.
What's going on YouTube? It's your boy OTR Sean, back at it again with another not so regular video. Hopefully it's in good timing. Hopefully this video finds everybody who sees it in good health, prosperity, you know, all that good stuff. With the current trucking market being in utter shambles, I'm gonna go over some quick tips on how I stay or try to stay as successful as possible with Road Legends. And then at the end of the video, there's gonna be something interesting that I think would be cool to be able to interact with, you know, people who are in the same situation. You don't have to be with Road Legends. Just throwing an idea out there to see if anybody else thinks like I think. But if you see me looking over here to my left, I've got my laptop open and I've got some notes pulled up that I've jotted down that I'm gonna share. If you already know about it, you know about it. If you don't, you don't. It's a transfer of information. But without further ado, let's get started. So, with Road Legends, you have, obviously, you're going to have fixed costs, and then you're going to have variable costs like fuel and stuff. To be in any lease purchase, not just with Road Legends, whether it's Super Ego, Prime, wherever, you are going to have to track all expenses, which means do not just trust the finance department, or do not just trust don't just go by what your fleet manager says or your dispatcher says. You need to be tracking fuel. You need to know how much money you've spent on maintenance, and if you're negative in your maintenance. You also need to know your insurances, like what insurances they're pulling out of, or what insurances they're pulling for. Like if it's occupational insurance or hazard insurance. Basically, you need to have a breakdown, itemized list of everything that they are pulling from. If you can, I would recommend you try to trip plan, or, you know, plan trips as optimal as possible. For example, I had a load last week that came out of, what was it, Baltimore, or the Baltimore area. Was like Glen Burnie. It's technically Baltimore to me. They wanted me to go down 68, or go through 68 to 79. Anybody who knows anything about driving trucks, I was at 43,000 pounds. Going through 68 to 79 would have killed me in fuel. So, optimizing your fuel routes might mean taking a longer route, like having to go out a route just to make sure you're not killing yourself in fuel. So instead of me taking 79 and 68, I took 81, shot down all the way down 81 into Tennessee, and came up into Kentucky. The load delivered to Berea, Kentucky, which is not far from where I live currently, and it's not far from where I grew up as a child. That made more sense to me to do that, because 81's pretty much downhill, and then 75, you got Jellicoe to go up, and after that, 75 gets real flat. So you're gonna have to know the interstates. If you're new to this, if you don't have at least, me personally, I would say if you ain't got at least 3 to 4 years experience, I would not touch a lease. I would not touch a lease, because you don't know the road enough to know what ways are going to be more costly in fuel and what ways are more, that make more sense for you. Because at this point, if you're leasing, even if you don't wait 2 or 3 years and you jump straight out of CDL school, highly not recommended, but if you were to do that, you're gonna have to know, or you're gonna have to find out real quick which ways to go and which ways not to go. Number 2, this is kind of tricky because a lot of these lease companies, I know from what I understand, I've spoken with Mac Life. He's a YouTuber with Super Ego. They have a load board. Some lease purchase companies or some companies that allow lease purchase have load boards that you can choose from. Road Legends is not one of those companies that has a load board that you can pick and choose and blah, 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 bullshit, whatever. They don't have that. They're not going for it. They're not going to let you pick nothing. They'll let you have a say, but as far as you logging on to like a DAT or a DAT or like a JB Hunt style or like Swift style load board, that's not going to happen. But what you should be doing is tell your dispatcher to prioritize the highest paying load. And if possible, try to negotiate the rate with your dispatcher, or have your dispatcher try to negotiate the rate with the broker. I've had to negotiate rates a couple times with Road Legends. My dispatcher, pretty good guy. If I felt like it was too cheap, and this is for all of Road Legends, they're very transparent. They'll tell you there's room or there's not room. I mean, you take that however you want to take it. People will say they're skimming. If they're skimming, so what? You signed into a lease. You should understand that everybody's going to try to make money off of you because you are the lowest man on the totem pole. But with all that being said, try to have your dispatcher or you yourself try to prioritize the highest paying load and negotiate the rate if necessary. Don't be unreasonable though. Don't think that you're gonna get like 6,000 to pull something unless it's like specialized. It's probably not gonna happen, especially not in this market. A lot of people don't pay attention to their deadhead miles. Deadhead miles count. You're still burning diesel. The wheels are still turning. The only difference is you're not getting paid for the wheels turning. So minimize deadhead miles with efficient and effective route planning, which kind of ties back into controlling your cost. Just make sure you know where you're going and don't try to be the hero with Google Maps on your phone. Look at a map. If you don't have a map or an atlas, get one, at least just to say you have it. When you're on a 34, you're not doing anything else. Pop the thing out, take a look through, familiarize yourself with it, at least know how to get from one major city to another major city, or at least know how to get from one state to another state, all based off of an atlas. When I started with Maverick, that was mandatory. You had to do that with them, or they would send you home, if my memory serves me correctly. They were big sticklers on don't use a GPS. I do have a GPS. I do not rely on the GPS. My GPS is old. I'm not about to spend $600 on another thing that's going to freeze every 30 seconds. So I know how to read maps. I would highly recommend read maps. You'll notice that a lot of these things will tie back into themselves. So, also, if possible, with the company that you're leased onto, if it's Road Legends, this is possible. If it's a different company, you'd have to speak with that dispatching department or your dispatcher or fleet manager. But try to work with multiple brokers for consistent freight. Like, multiple brokers mean try to work with one broker that you know is always going to have a load that gets you out of that area, if it's possible. Or try to stay consistent with one brokerage company, if possible. Because at the end of the day, once your truck is paid off, so what if you're leased on to a Road Legends or a Prime or a Swift or a Super Ego or whatever? If you decide to continue to drive, you've already built a relationship with a brokerage. They know how you run. They'll call. You could call them. Not that big of a deal. But you have to set up these relationships early, so that way, whenever you're at the end of the lease or you finish the lease, and if you decide to go on to somewhere else, whether it be Landstar, Mercer, Maersk Global, any of those places that allow you, I'm bouncing because they're loading the trailer with what's that? They're loading the trailer with solar panels. So if it's a little shaky, it's not wind. I'm not dying. It's these people with the forklifts act like they don't know how to drive and they're trying to pop my airbags. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Try to work with the same broker as much as possible, but if you have to, spread it out over, and this is something that you may not have control of, but try to spread it out over, I'd say 4 or 5 brokers that you're comfortable with. At least have a couple, or at least 1 or 2, which is still a couple, at least have 1 or 2 brokers that you know will be able to get you out of an area if you stay in a certain area majority of the time. Number 3, keep track of your lease. This seems very self-explanatory. A lot of people don't really read the lease. Like, look at it. Don't just sign the thing like, hey, I'm gonna make all this money. They lied to you. You're not gonna make all this money. You're gonna make what they want you to make. Just being honest. Review your contract for any fees or renegotiate opportunities if possible. So a lot of people will sign leases like with I talked to a company. What was that company called? Do I really want to say the company? Man, I don't work for them, so I'm gonna say it. What is that company? They do they do windmills out of Nebraska. It's eluding me at the moment, but it's I think it's ACT or something like that. Their trucks are always ATS. That's what it is. Anderson Trucking Service. I had spoke to one of their recruiters a while ago. We were talking like a year or 2 ago. It's probably still the same. Most of these companies that do what I'm about to tell you about, they're never going to change it. They'll let you lease a truck from them for 1 to 2 years, whatever. You'll pick the truck out. Cool. They'll make you think that you're going to buy the truck. What's going to happen at the end of the lease? Let's say you lease a truck for 2 or 3 years from them. They're going to want you to pay some astronomically high price for a truck that's not worth it. The whole leasing thing, you have to come into this and understand somebody is going to get over somewhere. You have to come in with that understanding, or you're going to lose yourself and you're going to be very frustrated, very angry, not making any money because you're going to be pissed off all the time. So just come into it knowing they're going to try to screw you. You just got to mitigate how much you're getting screwed. Road Legends, I can say, and I'm not getting paid for this. These people probably don't like me half the time. But they're very honest. Like, brutally honest. And it's almost scary how honest that they are, because they just lay it all out there on the table. Like, they're not handling you with rainbows and fairy tales or kitten gloves or nothing. No, they're going to tell you, if you're not making no money, they'll tell you they'll call you. What's going on? What's happening? That's how they are. Some companies, they'll just let you, and it's sad, but some companies, they'll just let you run the truck and get further and further and further and further and further behind. For example, I had a situation where my truck was broken back in, I think it was like September or something. It had a stream of like breaking back to back to back to back to back. I say all those back to backs. It really wasn't that many back to backs. It was like 2 or 3 times. It was like coolant issues. And look at previous videos, you can see coolant issues. And then finally, for whatever reason, it went from coolant, got the coolant, thought I had it sorted, still had coolant clamps and stuff, hoses breaking because nothing has been touched on this truck. These trucks don't get, not Road Legends specifically, but most people don't think to change coolant hoses. Plus, it was in the middle of the summer, so that would also make sense as to why things were breaking when they were breaking. It was on the hottest days. The truck was under a lot of stress. Whatever. Then my fuel gauge stopped working. That turned out to be a short. Then I had a series of shortages on sensors on the engine that had to be rewired. And then finally, the one that broke the camel's back was when my truck's an automatic, so the gear shift selector stock thing, it just decided that it was going to get stuck in, I guess, drive, because it threw a transmission fault. It would not start. I tried jump starting it because I thought it was like the batteries were dead, because I have an APU on this truck, and I have it set to where when I go home, I press the APU, and if it detects that the batteries go below a certain voltage, it'll kick the APU on. When I got to the truck and the APU was running, so I thought, you know, maybe it's dead. And then I noticed up on the dash, it had if you have a Kenworth, whatever company you have, if you have a Kenworth, a T680, if there's a transmission fault, it's going to put 2 stars. If it's automatic, it's going to put 2 stars where your little gear is up on the dash. I had the 2 stars of death. Come to find out, somewhere in the deep bowels of this electrical system on this stupid stock that Packard put on here, it had a short. That was supposed to take a couple hours, ended up taking a couple days. One thing led to another. I got pissed off. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to work. I mean, I still had a load, and I still tried to deliver the load. They was not trying to have it, so I wasted essentially a week waiting for my truck to get done. And even when I got the truck back, I took it in. It got towed to the shop on a Monday. I didn't get it back till Thursday, and the load that I had, I got stuck with until Thursday. No, I got stuck with until Friday, and they paid me to take the load back to its origin because the Toyota plant in Kentucky, they messed up and they ordered dry vans and they wanted flatbeds because it was a job site and they didn't have it set up for dry vans. That's a different story. But what I'm saying is, with the truck breaking and all of those things that happened within that time span, instead of Road Legends just making that a hidden fee type thing, like they'll wait until the end of the lease to just be like, hey, you owe blah, blah, blah amount of money. Let's say it was $6,300. No. They called me and we have been working it out, and I've been paying extra a week just to make sure that, you know, that type of thing doesn't happen again. If the truck breaks, I try to make sure that I have reserves. I mean, there is a maintenance account, and there's an escrow too, but the maintenance account, that covers like repairs. Obviously, maintenance account. The escrow account, it can be fiddled with. I would recommend that you not fiddle with it, because then you got to pay that back. And to be honest, with my truck breaking, this is like what I'm doing now is I'm paying back the escrow. This is like the 3rd time I've paid this escrow back. And it's $2,000, and they take $100 a week. It takes 10 weeks if you do it that way. I tell them, take $250. Put $250 on it. It takes 5 weeks. Get it up out of here. I'm not trying to be having y'all playing with the settlement every Friday. Just not my cup of tea. I really don't like to be in debt. Like last week, this stupid trailer, somebody took the forklift and popped a hole in the top of the trailer, caused the trailer to leak. At the same time that happened, a trailer light shorted. So last week was a bad week. I ain't had a week like that in a while. I think I've only had like 2 or 3 weeks like that. I only pulled 2 loads last week. Did not make enough to put air in the tires on this thing. But I'm only negative from last week, I think like $70. I've already got all my bills and things situated and paid for. This week I'm gonna bounce back. I'm gonna shake back. That's what you gotta do. This is the trucking industry. You can't let it finish you. But back to the list of tips and tricks and what have yous. If you have access to a group of individuals, or if you want to get a lawyer involved, if you got the bread to have a lawyer read the terms and conditions of your lease for you and then break it down in not legalese, consult a legal or trucking expert for advice. It doesn't have to be somebody that's got a PhD. It could be somebody like an uncle or a friend. You could drop it in the comments if I don't know the answer, or if any of my friends that drive trucks or my uncles don't know the answer, then there's other avenues. There's other YouTubers that could possibly get you the answer, but ask somebody, essentially. Instead of just, if you don't understand something, don't let your ego get you messed up. Don't let your ego get you twisted around. If you don't know what it means, don't sign it until you understand what it means. Do not let your ego as a man in this industry get you bent all around. It ain't worth it. It's not. You gotta have a life. Don't sign nothing that you're not comfortable with. If you cannot understand it, then that means you don't need to sign. That's point blank, period. That's simple. Now, what is it? Plan for better ownership, path, or alternative arrangements. Meaning, my truck, it's kind of a toss-up because I've been told different things by drivers versus the maintenance department as far as warranty is concerned. So I'll use warranty for my truck as an example. I've been told that the warranty is either $500,000 or $750,000 for my series truck. Now, I have a 2-year lease with Road Legends. If everything goes to plan, I should be done midway or at the beginning of 2026. Even if I stay with Road Legends, by that time, I'll be either close to the 750,000 mile cap of the warranty, or I will be over the 500,000 mile PACCAR standard drivetrain warranty. And when I say drivetrain, it only covers engine internals, transmission, and drive shaft and axles. The expensive stuff, yes, but planning for ownership or making alternate arrangements would be something like National Truck Protection. I got a friend that runs for Landstar. He's got a 19 Peterbilt 579, whatever the short roof I guess it's a 579. It's manual, and he was telling me about National Truck Protection, or NTP. He's had repairs that we've talked about it, would have finished him if he did not have this warranty. Like, he had an after treatment problem, and it was some thousands of dollars, and I think he paid a deductible on that. Saying all that to say this: these companies that you're leasing from, they're going to make sure that they're covered. And then once you pay the truck off, if you make it to the end of the lease, I don't think they don't really care what happens to the truck after you pay for it. So I would highly recommend, from what I understand, National Truck Protection, or NTP, has a couple of different packages. I've got quotes for my truck. They range anywhere between $6,000 to $15,000. Now, that's one lump sum of money, but that would cover your truck for an additional 3, 4, 5 years. It's like an extended warranty that you would get at like a car dealership whenever you buy a used car. From what I understand, from my friend's experience with NTP, it works perfectly. They have covered, just in one repair, it's paid for itself. That after treatment thing, the cost of the after treatment repair was the same thing almost as what he paid for the warranty through NTP. So and he's still covered under them. So make sure that you're planning, or at least looking around, to find something like that, because you're going to need a warranty, most definitely. You also need to be looking at, if you're not going to stay with that lease company that you're leased onto, you don't have plates at that point. So you're going to have to figure a way, okay, even if you have like a time in limbo, I would highly recommend that you contact your local DMV to see how much, if anything, what they charge. I'm sure they're going to charge something like $100, $200, $300 to get a temporary tag, just so whenever you pay your truck off, if you decide to leave, you could at least drive your truck, like drop off their equipment that you are renting or borrowing or whatever you want to call it. So you could drop off their equipment, hand them take their placards off the side of your truck, take their plates off your truck, and then you could at least, bobtail your truck to your home while you're waiting to go to your next outfit, whatever that may be. Like I said, whether it's Mercer, Landstar, or Merce Global, or if you decide to go and run the oil fields, or if you decide to do containerized freight, whatever. Just make sure you have a plan, because if you don't plan to stay, them plates, unless it's in your contract, it's the Road Legends contract. I'm assuming, this is how I read it. Whenever you leave, I know for a fact, all of the placards that say Road Legends and the trailer have to be back, along with the fuel card. So I'm assuming the plates. If I decide to leave Road Legends, I'm going to have to turn in trailer, peel the little stickers off the side of my truck, probably the Qualcomm system also, and the fuel card, before they would give me back my escrow, the $2,000 escrow. The maintenance money is a different thing, because they give you the opportunity to use your maintenance money in the last year of your lease to trade that for the title. That's where I was saying earlier. They tell you this ahead of time. There's no plan of you walking away with, because the maintenance account caps at $10,000. There's no plan of you walking away from Road Legends with $12,000. Not you work for them, drive a truck, and then you walk away with 12 grand, because that's 10,000 if you have that in the maintenance, plus the 2,000 in the escrow. That's not, I don't, from a business standpoint, that doesn't seem like something that somebody would do. I'm not saying that they won't, but I don't think that that's what they would do, if that makes sense. Fourth, if you can haul specialized freight to maximize revenue, specialized freight meaning like if you have your X endorsement, so tanker and hazmat, if you can find a lane that is worth dealing with tanker and hazmat, whatever. I don't have my tanker and hazmat yet. I'm probably going to get it. But if you have your tanker and hazmat, and you know a lane, or you can get in contact with a broker, or the company that you work with is set up to haul hazmat or tanker stuff, I would highly recommend, if it's lucrative for you. Everybody has their own numbers, and it's not going to damage your truck, or it's not going to cause you any messed up health issues or whatever. There's nothing wrong with hauling specialized or refrigerated or hazmat or oversized if you're a flatbedder. If you can stomach it, and you can put up with all of the red tape that you got to go through, why not maximize your income by hauling what is considered specialized freight? Also, a part of maximizing revenue, everybody's got a phone. It's kind of unlikely that people don't have phones, especially in 2024. Everybody's got phones. Everybody's got a phone with a camera on it. Everybody's got a phone that can at least do a phone call, or even in some cases can do way more than what a lot of people's computers at home can do. Whatever. You got an iPhone, Android, whatever. I would highly recommend you get an app like Trucker Path or what's that, Mudflap, just so you could see the trends of like truck parking, or if you don't have a fuel discount, for fuel discount, or if you're gonna self-dispatch, you could self-dispatch yourself from your phone on like a DAT load board. So basically use the thing that's in your pocket that you're paying for anyway. You call your old lady, or you call your husband or whatever, you might as well use the thing to make money. You can write it off, I'm sure. Not a tax professional, but I'm pretty sure you can write that off. Sorry about that, y'all. Had to jump up real quick. They came to tell me that I was loaded. I got this logo in the Oklahoma. Pays 2 bands, 36,000 pounds, solar panels. I ain't had good luck with solar panels. Hopefully this time's a little bit better. But like I was saying, lastly, thinking about starting a Discord for all the drivers that watch my videos or subscribe to my videos or what have you. You don't even have to be subscribed. You ain't even gotta be a lease purchase guy. Just so we can share knowledge, share information. And I was thinking about asking Mac Life if he would be interested in being a part of it, and seeing if any other YouTubers, or I guess you would call us truck YouTubers, if they would be interested in joining the Discord, share knowledge or give pointers or all that stuff, just to make sure that people have the best possible experience that they can, and that just to make sure that people are successful, because we're all out here for one thing, and that's to be able to take care of families. But yeah, if you made it to the end of the video and you listened to my monotone ass voice for 30 whatever minutes, I appreciate it. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. It helps out the videos, helps get the message out there. That's it. But thanks once again. I'll check back in with y'all on the next one. Peace.